is enough, and it's time for a change.
Hey, yo.
My life, my money, my legacy.
Bianca Belair finally makes her WrestleMania decision. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the #1 wrestling podcast in the world. I am Jared Never Sleeps. Welcome to Wrestling Never Sleeps. I am here with my very, very handsome co-host, Mr. Straight Shoot with the suit, Adam Anthony James Martin. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, especially after watching SmackDown compared to what we saw earlier in the week. I think this was a huge improvement compared to Raw and NXT, unfortunately, for those two brands. But yeah, I can't complain. It was a pretty good show tonight, so I'm ecstatic to talk about it. I'm not overexhausted with a 3-hour program.
Yeah.
And again, the product in the ring or on the program itself was entertaining enough to not put me to sleep. I don't have a monster tonight. It's not vodka, it's water. So I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain.
And that vodka shall remain nameless until we get some damn sponsors. So, because we all know cloud ain't free, baby. But SmackDown tonight definitely had its high spots and its low spots. I think SmackDown's my favorite show. We watch a lot of wrestling every week doing this podcast. And it had its highs and lows tonight. I think we'll start off with the big news that I don't think is a secret to anyone. Bianca Belair ended up choosing Sasha Banks as her WrestleMania opponent. Now, this segment, I got to rant on this. I don't know if you want to go first or should I go first on this?
I'll go quickly first if you don't mind, Jared.
Go ahead.
Because I know you, we were talking about it a little bit before we hit the record button, so I know you have a little bit more to say on it, I think. So
I'm royally pissed. I'm royally pissed.
I'm pissed. Oh my. Get the fire extinguishers. We got some heat here, but no, I'll just quickly mention that, I didn't really like the involvement of Reginald. I don't like his involvement in the storyline whatsoever. He's supposed to be with Carmella. Let him be with Carmella. So what if he's got a little crush on the champion, whether it's maybe a future ploy to help Carmella get the championship belt and they're just planting seeds right now, that'd be cool and I could deal with that. But they've shown no sign of that whatsoever, which again could be good future booking. But for what they actually pulled off in the ring and maybe what they were trying to actually get out of it, I don't think it went the way they wanted it to either. I don't think they got the reaction they wanted it to, and it didn't really get the reaction out of me that I was hoping for from this segment. This huge, massive news. This is like, this is for these two athletes. It's like competing at the Super Bowl, right? You're competing on WrestleMania for a world championship. It should be a big deal. Kind of made a little silly, I think. And there was no question, no doubt who she was actually going to pick, whether it be Asuka or Sasha Banks. So they made it really obvious that Belair was going to pick Sasha Banks, I believe.
Extremely obvious since the Royal Rumble, it's been so obvious who she's going to pick. It's so obvious that Sasha didn't even show up tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Or Asuka didn't show up.
Asuka, you're right.
You were saying. Yeah. But that's my take on it. I didn't really enjoy the segment as big as it should have been. I think it fell really flat. Now, I know you have a little bit more to say about the situation. So, Jared, bam, the floor is all yours, bro.
Man, where do I begin with this? So if you guys have not watched the show, Bianca Belair has chosen Sasha Banks as her WrestleMania 37 opponent. It was her right because she won the Royal Rumble. And wow. So Bianca Belair is I think a generational talent. She's extremely talented. She's a great look. She's a great athlete. And once she just kind of gets her bearings, I think she's going to be one of the most memorable superstars that we ever have. And then Sasha Banks, her body of work speaks for itself. She's one of the top women performers, one of the top superstars in the entire industry. She's the current SmackDown champion. She's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. And WWE really dropped the ball with this one, I feel like. You have an opportunity to really, people on the internet are calling this a dream match. And with dream matches, it's not only about the competitors a lot of times, it's really also about the storytelling. And they had this great opportunity to tell a story between these two over baby faces, these two very great superstars. And the story has been complete clunky. Like, first of all, we knew that Sasha was going to get chosen by Bianca Belair probably since the Royal Rumble about 3 weeks ago.
I would say
So they created this whole story that, oh, Bianca Belair doesn't really know who she's gonna pick. She didn't really even interact with Asuka at all. I think they did some stupid segment on Monday Night Raw at one point that she said I think they said like Lacey Evans isn't ready for Asuka, which had nothing to do with Bianca Belair. So they really projected that they telegraphed that it's going to be Sasha versus Bianca. And the story has really nothing to do with these two. It's just a really crappy story. And like you said, why the heck is Reginald involved if he is Carmella's lackey? What does Reginald have to do with anything? If you're gonna maybe turn Sasha heel and put Sasha with Reginald, okay, I can see that, but it just hasn't made sense. And then they tagged at the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view. So it's like, couldn't we get like a Brett versus Owen type story? Could we get a Cena versus CM Punk type story? Could we get a Rock versus Cena type storyline? It's just been really stupid. It's been bad booking. And I think it's going to hurt the match so much because the story is just not there. Like, why are they fighting? Like, why are they kind of friends? But it's just weird. And I just really think they dropped the ball with this. And I'm disappointed because I think a lot of people out there want to see this match. But if the story is if the story is not right, it's just going to be a match, and it might be just gonna get lost in the sauce of the card.
I was gonna say, for being the grand spectacle that WrestleMania is, it might just get lost in the shovel, just being another normal match where you, like you said, it could have so much more potential than it's actually showing and portraying to the fans to really get behind it. There's not much excitement after what I just saw this week. So
Right.
hopefully next week they can recover. Would I say a dream match for me? No, but would I say old generation of the women's division, the one
Right.
that started it all?
Yeah.
Really to see where it's gotten today versus that new breed of athletes that's come from, all the hard work that athletes like Banks and Lynch and, Charlotte all put in, just to name a few, to get the result of someone like Bianca Belair. So old generation versus new generation, yeah, that's a great way of doing it. And really, they're showing a little bit of hint here and there throughout the promo tonight that Sasha was still full of herself. She's still the boss. She's still only in it for himself. But again, what the heck does Reginald have to do with it?
What's he have to do with it?
I don't like him being involved with it. The cheap wine, you know, the he
We
should be
don't
with
we don't
Carmella.
need him
That's
in the
the whole
story.
point.
We don't
Unless
need him in
there's
the
something
story.
more to it that I'm not seeing. There's got to be something more, unless it's just a waste of our time with Reginald. So
Reginald should not be there. You have two performers. Women's wrestling is probably and the best it's ever been right now. And then on top of that, it's in America, it's Black History Month. You have two African American performers, two women of color. This was a WWE's opportunity to tell a great, compelling story that's going to open the door for more women in the future. And they just kind of dropped Reginald in there. And Corey Graves made a reference. He said that this match could potentially be a Tom Brady versus Mahomes type of situation. And I thought about that, and I thought of like the booking of like Tom Brady versus Mahomes. And the story they told was the old dog versus the new dog. And that's all the story you need to tell. You don't need Reginald at the Super Bowl in Tom Brady's corner. You don't need it. Just tell that story. Just tell like, okay, she's the top, and then Bianca Belair wants to get to the top, and that's the story, and that's where the friction comes from, and that's it. But the wine bottles and the tagging, and it's just too convoluted, and it just didn't need to be that.
no,
And that's no, I know Reginald. He needs a job, he needs a position on the show, but I don't think that's the best way to use Reginald in a women's rivalry match.
working with Carmella. But going back to the Super Bowl reference, you don't really have someone come in and say no, Tom Brady. We're not going to go with this play. I'm going to speak on your behalf, and we're going to tell everybody that this was what you mean post game. It's like, do we really need somebody to come in post game and speak for Tom Brady after he wins, the Super Bowl?
Right? You don't. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
before.
I feel like every time Sasha and Bianca have interacted, they have been doing the same exact promo for the past 3 to 4 weeks. Hey, I'm the boss. I'm the best. Girl, nah, I'm the EST. I'm the best. It's like you do this every single week. Give us some more, further the story. Just don't say the same exact catchphrases every single time, every single week. So I really feel like they dropped the ball on this one,
100%.
especially with the character work like a guy like Roman Reigns has been doing. So I know WWE has it in them, but for some reason they just haven't been putting it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray areas in that whole storyline, that whole build up to that match. Again, which is misleading for a lot of fans. Me personally, being an old school wrestling fan, I like for someone to cheer for. I like someone to boo. And call me old school in a modern world, but you can still make that work very effectively. To the point where, like you said, you have a guy like Daniel Bryan, you have Roman Reigns. Well, I like to boo Roman Reigns because he's doing such a good job as a heel, and I can't help but sympathize and cheer for Daniel Bryan. So, that's very simple. It doesn't have to be complex, but it seems like with Reginald involved, and again, no offense to the guy, I'm sure he's very talented. Just don't get involved in this. You're devaluing what these two women can actually do, I think, at WrestleMania or at any given time, in my opinion. So a little bit too much of the mustard, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that you mentioned that it's not a dream match, but a lot of fans online they're really like anticipating this match. So I guess a lot of younger fans might be kind of interested as a dream. I wouldn't consider it a dream match either. I'm just going by what the newer fans are saying.
Right.
And I like the fact that with wrestling, a lot of times you can look back 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now and look at some of the great storylines. And I think there was an opportunity here to make this like one of the all-time great storylines. And now it's kind of killed because it's like no one's gonna remember. Hey, remember that time Reginald ruined this match between these two, great generational talents. So I just really feel like I'm really disappointed in this because I think this was something that could have been really special. And maybe it turns around, maybe there's a swerve. I just doubt that WWE is going to do that. But yeah, I'm just really disappointed in this storyline, to be honest.
I can hear it in your voice, Jared. I can hear it. You're stressed. You're unsatisfied with what the potential of this storyline could do. So I'm with you on that one. I think they're dropping the ball, like you said. So again, it's not over until we get to WrestleMania, though. So let's see what they develop with this. Let's see where they go with it.
But if I was a betting man, I think I'm gonna bet there's gonna be some more Reginald. They're pushing the Reginald button out there. We need more Reginald. Hashtag we need more Reginald.
No, don't start that.
Don't get it over. Don't get it over.
Falls in all this though.
Let's see what people are saying
seems
about
like the one being left out in the whole situation.
Carmella.
Yeah, I think she's being left out in all this.
And shouldn't she be upset that her how do you say sommelier is just like kind of on Sasha's top right now? Like, wouldn't she be upset about this? She doesn't.
A couple weeks ago, she showed signs of aggression.
Yeah, but does she watch the show? he's been doing this every week. How come she hasn't been saying anything about
this? She's complained once or questioned him once. Didn't even really complain.
Yeah,
she said she almost was going to put her foot down, but didn't put her foot down. He brought her the cheap wine.
He brought her the cheap wine. It's weird. Let's see what fans have to say. If you guys want to join the conversation, make sure you hashtag WrestlingNeverSleeps to join our conversation. One fan is saying that at WrestleMania, at Bianca Belair, at Sasha Banks, I can't wait for this. That is at Choi Rolex, at Jason PM81. Whoever wins, this is going to be a good one. At Bios TV1 says Snoozemania. So and then at Gimmick Infringe says clap this, clap on, clap last. So I guess they said it like put this on last, but it's definitely with the story. It can't be the main event. Can you see this as the last match? Can you see this as the last match on WrestleMania?
No.
Yeah, it's got to be
one of the earlier matches.
Yeah, I could see them starting to show off with this, to be honest.
Well, yeah, they could start it off. Maybe not the pre-show.
Disrespectful.
But because it is
Disrespect.
the women, like the championship, women's, the women's championship. So, and it is Banks, and they are trying to build up Belair. So probably somewhere in the middle of the card, to be honest,
Yeah.
legitimately, and
Yeah.
rightfully so, especially to everybody else on that card too. So
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Where should this go on the card? Middle, beginning, and should it finish last? Let us know. Hashtag Wrestle Never Sleeps. So let's go back to segment one of the show. Roman Reigns cuts a promo, and man, how good is Roman Reigns right now? How great is heel Roman Reigns as a character? The tribal chief, the head of the table. He's got his guy Jey Uso. He's got Paul Heyman with him, and he basically cuts his promo on Edge and says that Edge, this is your last chance to back out of the WrestleMania main event, WrestleMania 37 main event. And he's saying like, "Hey, listen, man, you have a beautiful wife and a family at home. I don't want to hurt you. Please just stop. Just back out." So then Daniel Bryan comes out. Daniel Bryan is talking about how uh people are kind of saying backstage that Roman's like a little punk because of how he won. Like Daniel Bryan just won the Elimination Chamber, and how he just kind of went in the ring and beat him, and that's not fair. So then Daniel Bryan makes this kind of like this deal that if he's able to beat Jey Uso at the end of the night, then he'll get a title shot against Roman Reigns at Fastlane. So kind of setting up a WWE Championship match before WrestleMania. And what do you think about this type of booking? I know they have to have Fastlane, they have to have a pay per view to sell, but I like we see this in other shows. I don't like the booking between WrestleMania and Royal Rumble just kind of stretched out because there's always just kind of reaching for stuff to do in between. Because Daniel Bryan is not going to win at Fastlane if he gets a match. Nobody's going to win if they get a match against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is going to be in the main event of WrestleMania. He is, and he's deservingly so. So, what do you think about this kind of progression of the story in between Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, and WrestleMania, as far as Daniel Bryan goes in this whole story?
if you're gonna do it with anybody and get everybody motivated to actually maybe have a hint of belief, you do it with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I think he's the only guy on the roster that you can really get away with that with, because he does pull so much sympathy towards him, in any given situation, minus when he's being a badass heel like he can be. Like I said, he's a
The planet's
really good
champion.
shit disturber, whether he's a face or a heel, but he really manipulated the ego of Reigns, which I like the strategy to get in that situation where he could potentially be fighting for the championship at Fastlane.
Yeah,
So
I didn't
Reigns
even catch that. I didn't even catch that. That's a good point.
is a really good way to manipulate the ego, and he knows that if Roman's ego is going to be tainted in any way, shape, or form, despite how he won an elimination chamber, despite what he actually knows deep down inside on how he won, he still believes in his mind, and that's why he's so convincing as a heel that he won that match, and rightfully so. He earned that spot to defend the championship for the people, and he proved everybody wrong or right, depending on how you look at him right now. But I think he is a great heel. That's one of the key notes that I wrote down, that ever since he turned heel, again, a lot to credit with, probably a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Paul Heyman,
Yeah.
and a little bit more direction on a personal level. One-on-one work with him has given a little bit more experience, kind of like what Paul did with Brock, and really flipped him around from somebody, that people were going, giving him that go away heat, to now going, we love to hate this guy. Really good hot heat that, you want to see him now just get his ass beat, no matter who it's from. So if it was Daniel Bryan being interjected into the situation, potentially challenging for the championship at Fastlane and potentially beating, Reigns up, even though not losing, he's still going to walk away strong because it's Daniel Bryan. And then Reigns, sets up for Edge at WrestleMania. So
Yeah, and do you believe that? Like I know you said if anyone's going to do it, it'd be Daniel Bryan. Do you think that Daniel Bryan, and I love Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is a guy that he can lose 10 times and he's still going to be over with the fans. I think that's also comes from the fact that we never really got that big Royal Rumble moment. Like he was supposed to win the Royal Rumble basically twice. People really wanted it, and it just never happened. But do you think that this feud is kind of ill-timed? Like, could this have fit somewhere else on the calendar other than because we just know Edge it's going to be Edge and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Do you feel like this could have fit somewhere better and been a decent feud?
Oh yeah, like we said before, I think it's just a bad stretch from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania because it's potentially been so predictable over the years
Yeah.
to the point where we know who's going to square off already by the time the Rumble is over,
Mm-hmm.
that night. So it's really predictable. And I think if this was, leading towards the end of the year or, something for SummerSlam and the hot summer,
yeah.
a really good time of the year for the WWE as well. I think it'd be a little bit better positioning for Brian,
Yeah.
Personally. But I think no matter where you put these two guys in the year or in the program, or in any type of storyline, it's going to be a really good move for the WWE because both guys are so over now, especially with Reigns, Roman as the heel. So it's
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a bonus no matter what. It's worked out pretty good. I think it's carried SmackDown to be better than Raw and NXT so far, and I haven't watched much of the opposition there or the other guys, I should say, but I think it probably competes, in terms of entertainment value, on that level right now as well in terms of the three brands. So that's who they're really challenging, I think. So, and that has a lot to do with Roman. So when Roman said Elimination Chamber needed Roman Reigns, WWE and SmackDown need Roman Reigns, not only does it believe it, but I think it's true. So, and a guy like Ryan pulls that out of him as well. So
here, speaking of which, here's an interesting tweet at boyboy800 says, I have a feeling Daniel Bryan is going to be added into the match at WrestleMania, making it a triple threat match, but he already main evented. No need to take Roman Reigns or Edge's spot. Wow. Which would be interesting. I like the how it is Edge and Roman Reigns as a you look like the emoji. I like the way that it's Edge versus Roman Reigns, but man, a Daniel Bryan triple threat, it adds a really nice dynamic to it as well. That would be actually pretty, and it gives Daniel Bryan something to do because I think, like he already said, this is probably going to be his last full-time run. It would be great to see him main event WrestleMania again. He deserves it. We all love it. Daniel Bryan, he's super over. But I think the only issue if that was to happen was Edge. He's Edge. It kind of takes the shine away from Edge because I think people would want to see Daniel Bryan win. If you think people want to see Daniel Bryan win that, right?
I would think so, yes.
Yeah.
Even though Roman, I think, would win.
Yeah.
I don't think Edge would win no matter what. I think this is Edge's swan
It'd be
song.
Roman. Yeah, it'd have to be Roman or Daniel Bryan. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless
But
Daniel
I think,
Bryan takes the
I
pin.
think it's a little disrespectful to Edge.
Yeah.
After everything Edge has done, prior to the injury, prior to leaving and then coming back again and risking it all over again just to be a part of it and help out where he can. But in the same sense, you have someone, in the back maybe going, okay, can Edge really, we know Edge can perform. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But there is that risk that something might happen.
Yeah,
so do we interject somebody like Daniel Bryan that could carry the match a little bit more?
But he gets injured too.
What's that, sorry?
He gets injured too. So it's like
you get two guys. So between the two of them, you got
one good neck.
Half a good neck to one good neck.
Yeah.
So someone's gonna last.
3 guys, 1 neck. And then at Derek Ruddle says Bryan facing Roman at Fastlane is what most people want, but not me. He isn't winning on the title because the main story is with Roman and Edge. Don't use Bryan as window dressing. I say book a tag team match, Edge and Bryan versus Reigns and Uso. Hashtag Wrestling Never Sleeps. Hashtag WWE Smackdown. So,
I like that too.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do, right? They're going to do the tag match.
Yeah, but just throw him in a tag. I love Daniel Bryan though. I want to see him do something else, but everyone's got to get their shine.
If you throw Daniel Bryan in this triple threat match, potentially at WrestleMania, what do you do with Jey Uso, right? So I'd like to see Bryan and Uso go at it because they look like they were going to have a good interaction.
Yeah, Bryan and Uso for a belt would be awesome. Like IC belt or something.
Just a match on WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, I would like to just see it some type of higher stake. That's what I'm looking for, like a little higher stake. Okay, what's the difference between a SmackDown match that they have and a WrestleMania match. If they have a belt, maybe it's like a little bit more or something like that. Or maybe Uso has to leave WWE or something. I don't know.
Switch brands.
Yeah, some type of dynamic in there. So next up we have a squash. Segment 2 was Dominic and Rey Mysterio versus what's their name? This I forgot their faction. It's Gable and Otis. It's
It's the Alpha Academy.
the Alpha Academy. Yes. So you have, I guess Otis is a heel now.
Yes. A
And
subtle turn was made.
Yeah, a subtle turn. Oh yeah.
But now it's very evident, very obvious.
Yeah, it's super obvious. He doesn't do the worm anymore. Less of the comedy stuff.
Very less.
So basically this was a squash match. Really no high stakes. Yeah, a wrestling match. So what do you think about this here?
Well, one thing that I noted was that Dominic moves a lot like his dad did when his dad was in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing for Dominic. Rey, pretty much probably as much as he can go still. I like to see him kind of take a step away, be more of a mentor or a manager to his son, give his son the spotlight, move on with the next generation, start building up him, just like they did for Rey. Pass the torch to his son at some point real soon, hopefully by the end of the year. For now, he's just probably carrying him through as he's so inexperienced. So it's a great move by teaming them up together. And, they're not losing anything really by going over, or letting, Gable and Otis, who really need this right now, I think a little bit more than Rey and Dominic do. So having those guys go over the father and son combo, smart move by WWE to build those guys up to a nice heel tag team.
Gable and Otis.
The no remorse for Otis is a good turn, and Gable has really turned it up too. I think he has the potential. Kind of slid. He got lost in limbo for a little while, and now that he's doing this, he's kind of really turned it on again, which is really good. And I think him and Otis, oddly enough, could be the best odd couple right now in WWE. As a tag team, like thrown together.
I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like just random tag teams, but it's working. There was one thrown together
later tonight, and it wasn't nearly as good as this tag team, and that's by far right.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Reading some comments on Twitter at BobSaw69. He's freaky. At BobSaw69 says Otis and Chad Gable are my new favorite thing going. Hashtag wrestling never sleeps. HD Dottie at HD Dottie says Jungle Boy versus Chad Gable is something I want to see one day. A little inter-brand. What do they call it? The Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door, knock knock.
Yeah, book it, Vince.
Keep on knocking, but you can't come in.
I doubt that's ever going to happen.
I'd like to see Jungle Boy go to NXT though. That'd be sweet.
That would be nice. Yeah,
throw that out there to see him have really good training, really good coaching behind him. Someone to guide him along and develop him, or a whole team of really experienced coaches to really develop his character. He is Luke Perry's son, so that that carries a lot of weight right there. And he's very talented, but I don't think he's getting the right direction. I don't mean to go off topic, but I had to mention that you mentioned Jungle Boy. So
what do you guys think about Jungle Boy of AEW? Let us know in the comments. I'm a fan of Jungle Boy too. Off topic, but
he's really good.
It's wrestling.
He's just wrong with the wrong guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, so this match was a squash. You know what I would love to see? You know what I would really love to see to come out of this? I know they're pushing Gable and Otis right now. I want to see the Mysterios tag every single week, and I want to see them lose every single week, and I want to see a little bit dissension happen all the time. And Rey keeps on holding Dominic back, and he keeps on taking the pins, and he keeps on screwing up. And then one week, Dominic just snaps. Dominic snaps on his father, and Dominic's a heel, and we get Dominic versus Rey at WrestleMania. That'd be a great story.
Do you think we can edit this out if it's a little too much, but do you think, because I was thinking the same thing, this little dissension, a slow burning feud, a little wedge between the two of them, Dominic getting fed up again, feeling held back by someone that hasn't passed the torch yet to his own son, How could you hold me back, Dad?
Yeah.
Do you think he mentions, and again, we can edit this out if it's too much, but do you think he mentions at any point in time in the line or in any time in the period, if they do go that way, they're separate ways, and maybe meet at WrestleMania where he brings up the whole storyline where potentially he could have been, adopted by Eddie?
Yes. We should. They definitely need to have that. It just the frustration. It's been burning at him for the past 15 years. How dare you put the custody? How dare you put the custody of me in a wrestling match? He's like, at WrestleMania, I want your career. I want your mask. And it's a match that Dominic has to take his mask, and he wants to be the new Mysterio. That would be awesome. That's cool. That's what I wanted out of Sasha and Bianca. Something like that. Something just,
compelling.
It's compelling. Not I'm the NXT, I'm the EST, and I'm like, come on.
We're best friends. High five.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that would be way better. Hashtag book it, Vince.
Yeah, he's listening. So, we know he is.
He watches every single week. I know it. So segment 3. Well, first we have a little video package. Apollo Crews weighs lace to Big E. We didn't see him on the show this week. He's selling the injury with the stairs. So we get Apollo Crews against Shinsuke Nakamura, the artist. And Apollo Crews starts off, man, he's looking great. He sounds great. He is embracing his Nigerian heritage. Yes. He's speaking with a Nigerian accent. He has a scarf. That's kind of his, just kind of paying homage to his Nigerian heritage. And pretty nice match between Nakamura and Crews. The Crews, of course, goes over. They're pushing him. How do you like this new character and this new insurgence of Apollo Crews? Because he hasn't been really used that great as historically in WWE. But how do you feel about his new character now and how he's kind of like coming into himself right now?
Yeah, like you said, he's been underutilized. He's fallen into that shuffle or that underutilized category of guys like Ricochet and Aleister Black and just a whole bunch of talent that kind of just has been sitting still and stagnant. But he's cleaned himself off, removed that odor. He's revamped his self. On the program. I think, was that a Burberry scarf? Has he been hanging out with the opposition?
Yes.
But
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it, but
he watches the show too. He's a big fan. Yet. He's a huge fan.
But well, he knows the podcast is better, and
he knows it.
You know the rest of it. But going back to Apollo Crews, I like the turn up. I like the heel turn. I like the aggression. It seems like a lot of athletes right now are turning it up because it is the WrestleMania season and everybody's got the fever. So they're elevating their game. Like we're so used to from what I'm used to as a kid. Every time from January to March or the beginning of April, it's elevation, and I bet you in the back everyone's just pushing each other so hard right now, right? Even without guys like the Undertaker that were the big motivators back then to compete with and try to one up. You really look at the roster and you kind of look at
it's wide open now.
Who's going to be the one to compete with, or who's the new bar at WrestleMania? You don't have Michaels, Taker, Rock,
right.
Austin.
It's wide open.
So someone for like Apollo Crews to do what he did tonight with this phenomenal opponent or promo, the build up, he justified everything that he's doing. He made it very simple. It's not complex. I get where he's coming from, as I'm sure a lot of our listeners and people in general can relate to. Again, he inherited it and utilized his Nigerian background, which is really, really cool. He utilized the gimmick in the scarf, which could be Burberry. I'm not sure. We'll have to have someone look into that. But utilized the scarf, got the biggest win of his career. He looked really good doing it, even though he kind of, had some assistance again from the scarf, but looked strong and doing so. He beat Nakamura, a former Royal Rumble winner. So they're putting the jetpack on his back, I think, and they're igniting the flame.
Yeah, I think what's great about this is, like you said, I feel like that the roster is wide open. There's no Michaels, there's no Austin, Rock. It's Roman Reigns, but there's space for everyone to. I mean, Apollo Crews could be a main eventer next year. We don't know. Who knows? So it's wide open. And I think when he's when he's out there performing now and he's cutting his promos, there's a certain element of realness to it because he's been held down for so long that now he's turning it up because it's like, hey, I've been held down and this is my time to shine and I'm going to take it. And he got over by he's getting over. He beat Shinsuke Nakamura, like you said, someone that has been in main event feuds like AJ Styles and stuff. He's been Royal Rumble winner. He's huge in Japan.
Huge.
So I love what they're doing with Apollo Crews, and I definitely want to see more of him. And on top of that, Big E's gonna come back, and there's gonna be that great feud between Big E and Apollo Crews, probably come WrestleMania.
Because I like Big E too. Big E's awesome.
Yeah.
So
he might be another guy that could be a main event performer in the next years to come. Now, on the opposite end, Shinsuke Nakamura now is kind of like a utility guy. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura, when I first heard that he was signing with WWE, I just assumed, just with the how popular he is in around the world, I assumed that he was going to be kind of a main event guy. He's going to be in high profile feuds, and now he's on SmackDown getting used to put guys over, and it's not really helping him. Talk to me a little bit about, like, how do you feel about how WWE is using Shinsuke Nakamura?
I think it's been poor right from the get-go. I think it was unfortunately a terrible, terrible idea for him to come over from NXT to the main roster. NXT, he had a great time.
Yeah.
He really got to display at least, probably 60% of what he was doing over in Japan, which again is a totally different style. So he had to adapt to WWE type of wrestling or sports entertainment.
Yeah.
But he really got to just demonstrate a lot more in NXT. He had better matches in NXT.
For sure.
He was given more opportunity under the tutelage and the guidance of, guys like Triple H that were running that ship. I'd like to see
ship.
Yeah. Ship.
Okay,
ship.
Got you.
Ship. Even though it's boring now, back then NXT was hot. It's hot. It was all you could talk about, right? So
yeah,
especially when it came to WWE programming.
I would agree.
So now it's SmackDown that we talked about. So here we are. But I think Nakamura, going back to your question, should go back to Japan if he feels like continuing on his career.
Racist.
His contract is up. What was that?
I said racist.
No, don't even.
I'm messing with you.
Don't even joke. That's how we get kicked off of the air. That's how we get hate mail now for days and weeks.
It's going to be a headline. Straight Shoot says, tell Shinsuke Nakamura to go back to Japan.
To better his career.
I know, I'm messing with you. Let's read some tweets from some fans. At Mansa Musa the 7th says, yo, what's up at WWE? First the Hurt Business, now this. I feel you. Hashtag Apollo Crews. Hashtag Wrestling Never Sleeps. At Suplex Inferno says, wow, WWE actually using Apollo Crews. Hashtag Wrestling Never Sleeps. And Rick Neil P says, two things that were the best on SmackDown tonight was Apollo Crews and Seth Rollins on the mic. Too good. Hashtag SmackDown. Hashtag Wrestling Never Sleeps. Thumbs up. Smiling face. Yeah, I'm loving the Apollo Crews stuff for sure.
It seems like that's the general consumption, that a lot of people are liking this new look, this new attitude, this new aggression. It seems like it's all coming together for him just by reading off the tweets.
Yeah,
a lot of people, and just the reaction I've seen while watching the show itself seemed really, really positive for him. So I'm looking forward to see where they go with this. And again, like you said, when everything lines up, when the stars align, Big E's ready to come back, and you have a polished Apollo Crews, and they meet for that championship.
I'm intrigued.
The championship value up too, which the IC again, has fallen a little bit down the ranks. I think since the last couple of years, it hasn't met as much more. So two guys like Big E, someone like who really gives a shit about it, and a guy like Apollo Crews who really wants to take it, and they're that talented.
It's compelling.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm intrigued, and I'm interested for sure.
No,
moving along, segment number 4, we had another squash match. I wonder where this is going, but it was Tamina with Natalya in her corner versus Liv Morgan with Ruby Riott in her corner, and just the squash. For some reason, they're and again, no disrespect to Tamina, they're kind of moving Tamina up and in the rankings and like the the pecking order of WWE. And yeah, she had a squash match against Liv Morgan. I wonder what the plans are for Tamina moving forward.
Not quite sure. She's got the whole thing with Natalia, which is weird to begin with. I don't understand the pairing. They
Out of
might have
nowhere.
explained it, but I don't get it. I don't like it. But to each is their own. Obviously Natalia, so experienced and so accomplished in her own right. That's someone that you are looking from guidance from. Whether it be in the back or as a manager or a consultant or whatever she may be to Tamina. The Riot Squad, they had a really good chance, I think, with Liv Morgan to maybe possibly making her, paired up with the Fiend, and there was some rumors, and I think that would have been a better fit. I like Alexa Bliss, and I really like what she's doing. So, if you had to rate it out of 10, I think Alexa Bliss is doing a 7 out of 10. But Liv Morgan probably could have been doing an 8.5. It's like they left money on the table with that whole opportunity. And then now Liv Morgan is now with Ruby Riot, and they're doing the Riot Squad thing again. Their faces, so the whole punk rock face thing just doesn't vibe for me.
Yeah.
How you feel the same way about this?
Yeah, it's funny because I thought that for a while when I first kind of saw the Fiend and the Sister Abigail type of thing, like when the Fiend first kind of debuted. And I felt like Alexa Bliss didn't really need a character reboot at all. I like the Alexa Bliss, like the bratty, just mean girl gimmick that she had. There was no reason to reboot her, but Liv Morgan was kind of a character that just needed some type of something new. And I think that would have been her lane because she went off TV for a little bit. And when she came back, they threw her in that kind of that Lana Rusev, Bobby Lashley, we're lesbian type thing. Like that, and it ended and it went nowhere. I think she should have been the one, if anyone, that should have been kind of doing the spooky. And I'm not, again, I say every week, I'm not with the spooky stuff, the mythical stuff. But if it was anybody, it should have been Liv Morgan and keep Alexa Bliss as she was, because Alexa Bliss was more of like a, she was a SmackDown champion, she was a Raw champion, she's a tag team champion. She's a person that can really be in kind of that, feuding with the four horsewomen, or feuding with Asuka, or feuding with Ronda Rousey. But now you have her in this space where she just kind of like a comic book cartoon character, and that's that's not good for her. I feel like she's the reason why she's only doing it is maybe to get booked on horror films or something like that. Just kind of she's getting paid to do a horror film thing or something. But
what's the one movie? She's going to be booked in the Suicide Squad.
Say that again.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Kind of a parody off of that. So
yeah,
not really much to go with there. She needed that refreshment, like you said. They pulled it off camera, and then I was going to mention, they pulled off a couple women off of camera at that time. And then, we were getting those weird vignettes where we thought maybe that could have been Liv, but it wasn't. And then the whole thing with Alexa Bliss and the Fiend, we thought could have been Liv, which would have been really, really cool, I think, like you said. But we didn't get either. So now here we are. We had the squash. Tamina went over really strong. We had that quick little comeback. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like squash matches.
Yeah.
I believe on one of the previous episodes that we've recorded,
for sure,
we've talked about squash matches.
Yeah.
I just think it has to be the right people. I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't mind it, but it has to be the right people. I would agree with that for sure.
Like, I think they misused it. And again, you can't really ask for a squash and then they give it to you and then, complain about it, right? That's, I can't eat my cake by the ocean, so to speak. And, they gave me what I wanted in that retrospect, and they did it right with the minor comeback.
Yeah.
And then getting cut off instantly. And then the finish, it reminded me of, Saturday Night Main Event or Superstars.
Yeah.
Weekend watching all WWF programming, but would I've liked to see with somebody else that maybe they're trying to elevate, or someone fresh
for sure
in the division or in the roster, by all means, 100%. And again, nothing against Tamina. It's just confusing for me with her and Natalia. So I'm not really that interested, to be honest.
I'm not. And I will also will say that I think Liv Morgan's in-ring work, she's working very hard, and you could tell the difference between now and even a couple months ago. She's getting way better in the ring. At Mill 182, at Mill 182 says, I've developed irrational feelings for Liv Morgan. So okay, that's odd. So moving on
Yeah, let's
from
move
that,
on.
segment number 6, another kind of clunky match. And again, it's just to get guys on TV. Baron Corbin versus and Sami Zayn versus the Street Profits. A match that really didn't have any type of legs behind it. Now Sami is with Baron Corbin for some reason against former tag team champions. Was this the match to put on a television? I mean, what do you think this is going here?
I think it was just a one-off.
Yeah.
I think it was just a pointless filler match. We had one on Raw and we had one on NXT. There always seems to be one match of the week that's just put on the program just to fill the spots with talent that they need to use. I know that Corbin and Sami had, they were both in the chamber. So maybe if you're really reaching for something there, that's what you go with and say, hey, they both lost in the chamber. Maybe they made an agreement to team up and try to take on the former tag champs. If they get the win, maybe now they've found a new formula there where they can challenge for the championship in a different way or a different avenue and a different championship altogether. But I didn't get that vibe here. I got the vibe that Corbin was really annoyed with Sami. The camera crew were always in his way.
Yeah.
I think Corbin's being underutilized. A lot of people give him a lot of flack, a lot of shit. But he's got wrestling in his blood. He's a really good athlete. He's an amazing heel. He always gets the reaction that he wants and goes out there and aims for. So I don't understand why a lot of people, give him that go away heat when it should be, loving to hate him.
Yeah.
But teaming up with Sami, not right. Sami right now is doing his documentary comedy stuff. Baron Corbin's a bigger guy than anyone in that match. He worked like a big guy in that match and normally does in all of his matches. He's just got the full package, and I don't think he's fully being utilized. Again, the Street Profits, I like them. They're cool. They're fun. They bring a smile to my face. They make me want to go to my cupboard and grab a solo cup. They make me want to join in and have a good time and turn up the beats. But this match again was just kind of a filler. What did you think?
Yeah, again, it's a filler. Just I guess to put guys on television. And Baron Corbin is he's good in the fact that he can get heat. I really love the work that Sami Zayn's doing. I wish they were just kind of doing something else with him because to me he's freaking hilarious. He's really hilarious. This crazy conspiracy theorist documentary. He's got the beard and stuff. I love Sami Zayn.
Looks like a Cuban.
But again, yeah. But again, it's just and again, you need something for the Street Profits to do. These guys have been, I think they were the longest reigning WWE tag team champions. Are they the SmackDown champions? Oh no, it's the Dirty Dogs. Sorry, it's the Dirty Dogs. Yeah, so they got kind of lost in the sauce there, but yeah, I mean, at least these guys are getting paid in the pandemic. That's all I'll say about this match. It gives them something to do.
One thing I'd say about it, they kind of botched the hot tag again. In my mind,
I saw that. Yeah,
they finally got the hot tag, and then before the finish, it was pretty easy for him to make that tag. I think it was Sami had the foot. He was bouncing around for like forever, which it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then finally just kind of walked over and made the tag. So I was a little disappointed in that. But other than that, still, you have 4 talented athletes. They put on a good match. The cameraman and the interaction with Corbin was really good. I think Corbin put it up really well. Getting mad and yelling at Sami and Sami coming over to save his cameraman, not to ruin his conspiracy documentary. And now that gets added in as part of the conspiracy and why his documentary got failed. There's a botch. So just, I like the Sami thing too. I think he's just shouldn't be teaming up with Corbin.
Yeah, I would definitely
vice versa.
I would definitely agree with that. And the next segment, which was kind of interesting, I can see it's going to probably have mixed reviews online. So we had Seth Rollins come out, and thank God he changed his music back to his Burn It Down type of music.
Can we go back to just one thing before that?
Sure.
I think Edge did a promo in the back again.
Oh, right. Edge did a promo with what's her name? Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
And Edge is asking what's going on at Fastlane. Is he going to be in a tag team match with Daniel Bryan against Roman Reigns and Jey Uso? And they're kind of like, we're not sure. We're probably going to have Daniel Bryan have a world heavyweight championship, a universal title match with Roman Reigns, and Edge is just like, okay, and that was basically the segment. Did I pretty much explain what happened?
Oh, you definitely explained the whole segment perfectly to a T. The only reason I brought it up,
Yeah.
a friend and I were watching, and someone that doesn't actually particularly watch wrestling at all,
Yeah.
but he remembers Edge from the late '90s, early 2000s, and he knows CM Punk because he competed in the UFC, and kind of looked at Edge and kind of looked at me, and he asked, "Is that CM Punk?" So I didn't know
Oh
if he
wow.
noticed the
Yeah.
resemblance in the face, and like certain faces that Edge makes, he looks like a jacked up CM Punk. I don't know if any of our listeners heard that or saw that as well or get that vibe, but I kind of saw it too. It kind of made me chuckle. But again,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to stop before we moved along to
Yeah, I
Seth
mean,
Rollins.
they have the same taste in women, right? I think Edge and CM Punk both dated Lita. They both dated Beth Phoenix. So maybe there's a lot of people that think that they have the same similar look.
Facial expressions, especially with Edge being a little bit
Yeah,
older now, they kind of have the same hairline going on,
yeah,
and just kind of stood out to my
right,
friend,
right.
especially for someone that doesn't watch wrestling. For him to say that, it was kind of funny.
What do you guys think? Does Edge look like CM Punk or vice versa? Let us
Say
know
we maybe
in the
if you could tweet
comments.
it some like pictures side by side or like memes or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that on Twitter. We'll add that hashtag Wrestling Never Sleeps. Um, so okay, so moving forward, so then we have this Seth Rollins comes out and he's talking about he filed a complaint against WWE online, and he's kind of addressing that. He tweeted some type of complaint to WWE, and then Cesaro comes out in jeans, looking like Vladimir Putin.
I was
He
gonna
comes
say
out.
the Rasputin song should have came
What's
on.
what's that?
Rasputin song came on.
Yeah,
I
right.
heard it.
Yeah.
Big
So
and
he comes out, and Rollins he cuts his promo on Cesaro. He's saying that, hey, listen, I've been to the mountaintop, I've been champion, I've been a Royal Rumble winner, I've main evented WrestleMania. You need my mentorship, you need my consultation, you need my leadership. And if we team together and you listen to me, if you would have listened to me last week, you would have won the Elimination Chamber and you would have had a match for the Universal Championship, but you didn't. But now you should listen to me and let's team up. And Cesaro kind of looks at him and he thinks about it. And when Rollins is cutting this promo, which I thought was a great body of work, when he's cutting this promo, Cesaro, you can kind of see he's really thinking about it. And he's kind of like, would this be a good partnership or not? But then he just grabs Rollins' legs and he does the Cesaro swing. And he swings him around, and that's how the segment ended. Now you said that you mentioned off air that you didn't like this segment. What like kind of disconnected for you on this segment? What didn't you like about it? I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was decent, I'll say.
it was just. I think maybe I'm tired of the Seth Rollins gig. Not as a performer, just his
Yeah.
character that he's doing right now, because I know I just, it's not believable for me.
Mm-hmm.
This whole savior thing. I think it kind of reminds me of something that he's might have already done before, over and over and over again, since he's been
Yeah.
on the main roster. And since he's been away from the Shield, I think he kind of lost his way, other than, his stuff with the Authority, which was really cool,
Yeah.
until Triple H turned on him and stuff. But I just can't get into it now. I like the idea that Cesaro is now feuding with somebody that's now established and is a former champion and is given to give him a real good run for his money competitively in the ring. And, storyline wise, it's very believable. Cesaro is a very good fan favorite, that deserves this type of push. So the situation that Cesaro's in, I really like. I like Seth Rollins as a performer, a talent in the ring.
Yeah.
Just not a character and a vibe right now. I don't think it's cool. I like the fact that Cesaro looked really strong. So maybe dislike the segment wasn't the right choice of words, but I think they could have executed it a lot better. They could have done something more for Seth in this situation,
Yeah.
while still making Cesaro look really strong. What do you think? I know you really liked it. Almost
I
as
didn't
much
I
as
didn't
the
love it.
Hangman segment, right?
This is where I thought they were going, and this is what I would have loved. I would have absolutely loved if Cesaro would have took Seth Rollins up on the offer. and you have heel Cesaro and you have heel Rollins in a tag team, and Seth, because Seth Rollins, what he was saying is valid, right? He's been a main eventer, he's been Royal Rumble winner, he's been Mr. Money in the Bank, he's cashed in, he's had the best cash in of all time. He's been like the top tier type of guy. He's beaten Brock Lesnar. And Cesaro here, the internet loves him. He's a great performer. He's one of the strongest guys on the roster. He's definitely underrated. And yeah, maybe he could use the tutelage of a Seth Rollins. Maybe they could team up and he can kind of learn from them. So what if they went on this tag team really monster heel tear and they're just beating everybody and they're just great heels? Because Seth Rollins is an awesome heel. And Cesaro's a great worker. Yes. And they go on this tear, and then you kind of stretch this thing out over 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and you start seeing a dissension between the two, and Cesaro starts getting over again as a face. And then you have the feud with Seth Rollins and Cesaro. You just let it slow burn a little bit, just have give them a little bit of body of work, give them a real reason and a connection. So when they do turn on each other and then do actually have a feud, there's more to the story. Does that make sense?
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just kind of let's let it marinate a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't like the idea of two top heel tandems on SmackDown.
Well, because the thing is that all right, because right now Rollins and Cesaro really don't have anything to do. That's what I'm looking at too. They don't really have anything to do because the Intercontinental title is kind of it's doing its own thing. The Universal Champion is doing its own thing. So these guys need to do something. So Cesaro, I think, needs tag teams are weak right now. Why not put them in a tag team and let them be one of the top tag teams on SmackDown?
I'd like to see Cesaro and him feud just so Cesaro could get over, and put himself finally in the upper echelon to potentially challenge, for reigns after WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Cesaro get over, but I would rather see him. I'd rather see.
I don't think it would be enough time for post.
I'd rather see a Cesaro and Seth Rollins feud at maybe a SummerSlam than a Cesaro and Seth Rollins feud at a Fastlane.
Hopefully they build it up all the way to WrestleMania. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a WrestleMania match.
That's a WrestleMania match. I don't know if they can do it in 3 to 4 weeks. That's just WWE is because they're already rushing it. What's that?
When's Fastlane?
Fastlane's the next pay-per-view. When is Fastlane? Let's see.
What date?
Fastlane.
March 7th.
Pay-per-view. Fastlane pay-per-view. Come on, Google. March 21st. Sunday, March 21st.
Ooh, that's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's like no time. So I just rather see
2 or 3 weeks before WrestleMania. I thought they would have done it earlier this month.
Yeah, and then also Seth Rollins has the ability, because he has that kind of that pedigree, that resume. He can get Cesaro over into a main event person, because that's like, hey, he beat Seth Rollins, So
that's what I'm.
That's how I kind of look at it. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So then we have the main event of the night. We have Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso, and man, how good is Jey Uso as this heel? Kind of not even, I can't even say he's Roman's lackey. He's great
grown
henchman.
from that.
He's grown from that, yeah. And it gives him something to do while Jimmy has been out for a long time. It's kind of was like a blessing in disguise for him.
Feels like forever.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm excited to see what they do with Jimmy when he comes back. But going back, going back to Uso and Bryan, the two have really good chemistry. And again, the mic skills have come along from Jay. This is a blessing in disguise, so to speak, for him to branch off and do some more singles matches, more of a single run. You see him develop or start off as that lackey, that unwilling lackey, to someone, who respects Roman, to someone, who sacrifices himself for Roman. But he does it so well now that he's kind of branched up on his own as well within that table, or at the table, I guess you'd say. He's pulled up a chair next to, Roman, rather than all the way down at the opposite end. Yeah. So to speak, figuratively. And his talking throughout the match.
I love that. I love that element. The talking during the match.
Earlier in the night, and then he just automatically jumps Bryan to set up this match. That was beautifully set up, really intense, very passionate, very emotional promo. And then again, the match itself. If you can keep up with Daniel Bryan in a match like Jey Uso could tonight and did tonight, you're set. Sorry, my voice is kind of going, but
It's all good. It's all
I'm
good,
just
baby.
excited. We've been talking for so much.
We're talking wrestling. What do you think about the finish of the match? It was kind of a draw. They both kind of it was they couldn't get to the ring within 10 seconds. So it was a draw of a match.
I'll give you two answers. If I was Jey Uso, smart move, because you kind of left the door open. You didn't allow Brian to beat you, but you didn't allow him to win. So now you've just voided this whole championship idea, for Fastlane, a one-on-one match. Now it has to be that tag match until we get to WrestleMania. Edge can now just coast, not have to worry about defending his title until he has to focus on Edge. So smart move by Uso. Look again, willing to sacrifice and look out, for Roman Reigns. So that's pretty cool. And I'm kind of interested to see where the tag match would go, how it plays out. As a fan, I hate the cop out of a double count out finish. But again, you have to think about, Uso's looking out for Reigns. So we got the job done. Smart planning, by the way.
And the non-definitive finish kind of prolongs the whole, because they have to stretch this whole feud out over the next couple of weeks. So
I'd like to see these guys fight again on a bigger scale, because they again have a great chemistry against each other in the ring. So Brian and Uso could be a lead up to Brian getting his rematch against Roman Reigns, eventually down the road, where he didn't get his fair fight after Elimination Chamber. So that could be a really good slow burn too. If they're taking this approach, we've been talking about slow burning a lot this week.
That's my favorite type of booking, when it's just not a kind of just all mixed together type of stories.
It's adding more suspense to what's going to be happening. It's making me think as a fan more. I don't know if that's going on with the listeners out there as well, but it's not as obvious. In a lot of cases, certainly there's some storylines where, we could see, okay, this is going to happen. Like Belair and Banks. Belair and Banks, being the prime example. But a lot of the slow burn stuff, we don't really know per se, where it's going to take us post WrestleMania. And as exciting as WrestleMania is going to be, I'm excited for SummerSlam. And that starts after WrestleMania. The build up to that. So
the road to SummerSlam.
It's going to be awesome. Summertime.
It's always awesome,
that, right?
Let's see some tweets from the fans.
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Wrestling Never Sleeps universe. At Kamisha 8906 says, I love Jey Uso's single run on SmackDown Live. He really is an amazing performer in the ring. # Wrestling Never Sleeps. Yeah, his like we said, his singles run has been great. He even that match he had with Roman late last 2020 was just epic. One of the best matches of 2020. At Jackie _Elias 3 says, Hoes mad, haters mad, Roman Empire forever. WWE Usos at WWE Usos and Roman Reigns, long live the tribal chief. Yes, hoes are mad. They're very mad.
Haters are mad too, even more mad than hoes.
Yes.
That's why the haters.
We got to put a poll on our Twitter. Who's more mad, haters or hoes?
Hoders.
Hoders.
That's option 3.
Mike Slip Monday.
The combination of 2.
So how would you grade this show tonight? If you had to grade it.
If I had to grade it, it wasn't anything excellent.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything piss poor.
Yeah.
We've seen we've watched 2 other shows this week that were definitely a lower grade.
Yeah.
Since we started doing this, which is just under a week now, the only thing that I've really given a good grade was Elimination Chamber itself, and that's the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So to see this SmackDown and to give it a C, I think is a good sign for what we've seen on the other programming.
Yeah.
So I have to give it a C. I think it's fair, if not a C plus max, but nothing higher, nothing lower. Only again because there are certain aspects of it that I really, really enjoyed, and then there were certain aspects that I still don't understand, and then there were certain aspects that didn't really need to happen. So, was it a great show? No. Was it a decent / barely good show? Yes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Maybe like a C plus. like a C plus show, I would say. It had its bright spots. Daniel and Bryan and Jey Uso are always great. I really hated the Sasha Bianca Reginald stuff. But overall, it progressed a good story. Some good things came out of it. The Apollo Crews thing was good. The Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan saga was pretty good, and it gave Cesaro something to do. So I'm gonna say it's like a C plus show. It's a C plus player.
I could definitely agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
Particularly not really with the show. Just excited to see what happens. On our next episode.
Yes.
This obviously will be released tomorrow morning in between.
Yeah, we'll have this episode wrapped up, and then we have Straight Shoot Sundays, which is gonna be awesome. We're just gonna shoot the shit and talk about wrestling,
Yes.
and I think I'm really excited about that. I think the fans are gonna love it just to hear just some commentary from really diehard wrestling fans. I think it's something that is going to be very special. And I'm super excited to have that on Sunday. So check that out. We'll have that on Sunday as well. We'll have that out, late Sunday or early Monday.
Yeah, we'll record that day, release it that day. Where this episode gets recorded the night of SmackDown, released the following morning, bright and early for you all on your way to work. Gives you something to recap on if you didn't quite catch the episode, just start to doze off. It's a little bit later. You got to get ready early up in the morning. This gives you a little something to do in the morning on your ride in, your travel in, whatever it may be. Or even if you don't have to go into work and you just want to chill in bed, eat some breakfast in bed, listen to a wrestling podcast. Why not? Wrestling Never Sleeps. And again, Straight Shoot Sundays, really excited. If you want to have, your voice heard, Wrestling Never Sleeps with the hashtag in front.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Some topics that you want us to talk about, we'll definitely mention it on the show. Particularly, I like to focus on one or two things. But again, there's so many different things that we could talk about that, we could just shoot on, we could just focus on. We could just be real fans, just going one-on-one, giving our opinion, and not necessarily always agreeing on everything. So a little bit of a debate in there as well, potentially. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited. And, just continue to have a great week, everyone. And, thanks for listening to the show. I am Adam Anthony James Martin at Real Anthony on Twitter. And Jared.
And I am Jared Never Sleeps. Make sure you follow us on social media at Wrestling Never Sleeps. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at WSN_TV. Like Adam said, make sure you use the hashtag when you're to join the conversation at Wrestling Never Sleeps. And signing off for and one thing I want to say, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification button to make sure you get notifications when we drop new videos. We're going to drop a lot of content. We're going to keep on dropping content. That does it for this show.
Jared,
go ahead.
Quick question for you.
Sure.
We've been talking about a lot of sports entertainment for the last 45 to an hour. Now, prior to the show, a lot of competition on this program of SmackDown tonight, a lot of good matches. Prior to the show, do you want to share a little experience that you might have gone through involving maybe a little wrestling match of your own?
Oh my gosh, that's we'll save that for Straight Shoot Sundays. If you guys want to hear that story, if you want to hear that story, I had a crazy day today. I had a super crazy day. Yeah, it's a great story.
Two crazy days.
I have two crazy days. Yeah, I have two crazy stories. We'll say that for Straight Shoot Sundays. So you guys have to tune in. See, I'm leading with the lead into the next show. So they have to
hang it on.
Yes. But that does it for Adam Anthony James Martin, the Straight Shoot with a Suit. I am Jared Never Sleeps. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you on the next episode. Oh, and before I forget, it's still real to me, damn it. Good night.
My life, my money, my legacy.